Hey there, blade fans. This old sword here with a quick review of one of my recently favorite TwoSun knives, the TS226, designed by Jelly Jerry. We'll do a few quick specs on it, and then list mostly favorable stuff, and then something I'm having a problem with. No particular mechanical fault of the knife or anything like that. So we've got a Sandvik 14C28 blade. Seems like that's the new favorite steel for TwoSun these days. 8 1/4 overall, 3.5 inch blade, 3.5 inch cutting edge. Since we got a handle that protrudes a little bit more, actually we can call that close to 3 5/8 for the length, and just a skosh over 3.5 for the cutting edge. Got a nice sharpening choil there. We've got a weight of 4.08 ounces. I guess we'll call that 4 ounces. And we've got a handle thickness of 1/2 inch. We have a blade thickness right up here near the pivot of 3.7 millimeters. So good thick stock. I like the finish. I like the look. I like the action, which is really just drop shutty. I tuned it a little bit. This was purchased secondhand on a Facebook group that sells and collects trades and so forth on TwoSun. I like that we have this really neat fuller here that goes from the hole up through the tip. Interesting cross section as we get into the tip there, almost like a mini little kind of a harpoon look from the cross section anyway. Pretty good finish on the blade. Nice satin on the finish. For some reason or other, TwoSun's Sandvik steel comes through a lot of times with scratches on it, and a lot of owners, and I don't blame them, complain to high heaven about the those micro scratches. It's a very ergonomic handle, really nice, not overly fat, being 1/2 inch. If you're careful, you can use that front guard area as kind of a place to rest your finger. I definitely wouldn't jam my finger up in there, because there's not enough room before you hit the edge of that blade on the sharpening choil. Here's my issue. Beautiful as a back flipper, but you'll see that it was also designed to use the hole and to use the platform here as a front flipper, except I have never been able to front flip this knife. My thumb slides off before I'm able to open it. Same thing with, I'm just barely able to spidey flick it. I'm a little bit afraid to jam my finger in there too hard and overcommit. So yeah, I can spidey flick it with the meat of my finger, not with a fingernail or anything. But for me, and I'm going to emphasize this, for me, on this particular one, maybe the detent's a little tight. You got to exert a fair amount of pressure. And based on the fact that it's hard to fail, well, I failed it. That's because I ran into the back of the blade. Yeah, only because my finger's stopping it. But it's got a fairly tight detent, which gives away quickly with enough pressure. Now, so that I don't come off as a complete idiot who doesn't know how to front flip a knife, here is a TS139 Barracuda that I love. Very easy to front flip. Here is a TS198 front flipper. No problems front flipping that. And finally, very popular one these days, TS129. No problems front flipping the TS129. Now, design is everything, right? So you do have to be careful with frame locks, as I understand and have experienced, not to jam up the opening by pressing on the frame. But I've actually held this knife in the other hand and attempted to do that and have failed it. That time I assisted a little bit by hitting the back flipper. But I guess I'm just not getting the purchase that I should on that. Could be that these are smoothed over more than other models. You may have a model that works great for you. And I'm not disparaging the designer or anybody else that's got better skills than I do with that particular knife. Size comparison. Rat 1 is about 3/4 of an inch longer overall. Griptilian, pivot to pivot, is pretty close to the same length. The TS226 just looks a little larger because it's a higher knife with a wider blade than the Griptilian and a possibly a little wider handle. Here's the Freak. And yeah, very close. Freak's got maybe a little bit longer handle and an ever so slightly longer blade. So that's my experience with the TS226. I've got another model that I did a review on already called the 236. So, you know, TwoSun's starting to use names, which is great. So I hope they do that more. I think as they get some of the newer designers online who want to have a name ascribed to their design, we're going to see it more. Jelly Jerry, shout out to Jelly. He does some really innovative designs lately. He's one of the hottest and most prolific designers for TwoSun these days, along with, I have to say, Mazwan Mokhtar, and collaborations with Tepe and Night Morning. A whole raft of new people designing knives for TwoSun. So open back with back spacer there. We've got a lanyard hole for sure. We've got flush screws pretty much. Have a machined titanium clip. Somewhat deep carry. Everything's titanium. Not sure if try this test. So, nope, the screws are sticky. They're metal. They're ferrous metal, steel. Pivot steel. Blade obviously is steel. And so really the handle is titanium, and that's pretty much it for titanium for the knife. But great standoff there, great design, and you know, this is one of the few models where you've got the show side with carbon fiber in it, and you've got some carbon fiber on the other side. They're starting to do that more, and I like to see it. There's some really nice knives out there that are bolster locks where you're getting the full treatment of carbon fiber or G10 or what have you on both sides. Thumb ramp, that's the same one that acts as your platform for the front flip. I know they couldn't build this out any further, or when it comes back here, that's going to present a problem. They'd have to set back the blade stop a little further. I'm not a knife engineer by a long shot, but I know some of the things they need to do in order to pull off a design just by having these knives. But it's a beauty. It's a keeper in the collection with TwoSuns, particularly these days where TwoSuns just running wild with designs. And you will see some future reviews on these guys as well. So catch you soon. Enjoy. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This Old Sword signing out.